Lexi Brown's not okay with it. Lexi Brown took it upon herself to stand up and speak out on behalf of a lot of people who might have been afraid to. And you got Brianna Stewart talking about she don't believe that they're
in the deeply cynical, violently cutthroat ecosystem of multi-billion-dollar corporate labor relations. There is a fundamental, terrifying moment when a unified front officially collapses into a chaotic, cannibalistic civil war. It is the exact moment when the working-class membership of a labor union suddenly wakes up, looks at the spreadsheet, and realizes that the millionaire executives negotiating on their behalf are not actually fighting for the survival of the collective, but are instead aggressively protecting their own individual portfolios. For months, the WNBA Players Association has actively weaponized the mainstream media, projecting a completely fabricated, highly sanitized image of unbreakable sisterhood. They proudly paraded their strike authorization votes, attempting to convince the billionaire ownership groups that the entire league was fully prepared to walk away from the 2026 season. But as the catastrophic season ending March 10th deadline rapidly approaches, the psychological warfare orchestrated by the owners has successfully cracked the foundation of the union. The WNBA locker rooms are currently tearing themselves apart from the inside out. The rank-and-file players, the women who rely exclusively on their WNBA minimum salaries to survive, are officially staging a public mutiny against an executive committee that is completely blinded by greed, ego, and a profound, toxic misunderstanding of corporate finance. Welcome to The Breakdown. Let us expose the catastrophic internal rebellion led by Lexi Brown, the absolute, unprecedented conflict of interest surrounding Brianna Stewart, and the terrifying mathematical reality of the Caitlin Clark economy that the veteran establishment is desperately trying to hijack. To truly understand the sheer magnitude of the panic and internal hostility currently ripping through the WNBPA, you have to dissect the exact catalyst of the rebellion. In any corporate structure, when the middle class realizes they are being marched straight off a financial cliff by a group of out-of-touch executives, a singular voice always emerges to break the silence. In the WNBA, that voice is veteran guard Lexi Brown. Brown represents the absolute core of the WNBA workforce. She is not a multi-millionaire. She does not have a global signature shoe deal with Nike. She is a highly talented, hard-working professional athlete who is operating on an older, restrictive contract. And she simply wants to secure her financial future before her athletic window permanently closes. Listen to the devastating reality of Lexi Brown's public defiance, and exactly how she just completely shattered the union's primary negotiating strategy by exposing the incompetence of the executive committee.
With its own players that it's representing, Lexi Brown is not happy with the moves that Brianna Stewart has been pulling, Nafisa Collier and Nneka Ogwumike. Lexi Brown's not okay with it. Lexi Brown
is not happy with the moves that Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier, and Nneka Ogwumike have been pulling, and she took it upon herself to stand up and speak out. Let the absolute gravity of that internal betrayal echo in the minds of the ownership groups. When a highly respected veteran publicly attacks the specific, named members of the union's executive committee, it is a formal declaration of zero confidence. Lexi Brown is looking directly at the union leadership and officially stating, "You do not represent me. You do not represent the middle class. You are making demands that the owners will mathematically never agree to, and you are actively risking the cancellation of the season to satisfy your own egos by stepping in front of the microphones and refusing to toe the company line." Brown has instantly become the undisputed voice of the silent, terrified majority within the locker rooms. She is the physical embodiment of the working-class frustration that has been secretly boiling behind closed doors for the past 60 days. And this frustration is not just a vague, generalized anxiety. It is rooted in the cold, hard, unvarnished mathematics of the owner's latest collective bargaining proposal. The executive committee has been aggressively trying to convince the players that the owner's current offer is insulting and disrespectful. But the rank-and-file players actually read the proposal. They looked at the guaranteed base salary increases. They looked at the massive, completely unprecedented concession, where the owners agreed to pay for all player housing for the upcoming season. For a player making $90,000 a year, free housing in an expensive metropolitan city is an absolutely massive, life-changing financial victory. Listen to the unfiltered, brutal reality of how the rank-and-file players are currently reacting to the owner's proposal and why they are actively turning their fury away from the billionaires and directing it entirely toward their own union representatives.
In a near unanimous vote. Now, That let it be known, it's very clear there are a lot of people, players, who are fine with the numbers and with the offer that the WNBA has sent, who want to sign and move on.
There are a lot of players who are fine with the numbers, who are fine with the offer, and who want to sign and move on. They are calling their own representation greedy. This is the absolute, definitive kill shot to the union's leverage. The billionaire owners do not even have to negotiate anymore. They just have to sit back and watch the union cannibalize itself. The middle-class players are looking at the executive committee and screaming, "The owners are offering us free housing and guaranteed checks, and you want us to reject it and go on strike? You want us to face eviction and bankruptcy so you can fight for a theoretical piece of gross revenue that might not materialize for a decade?" The working-class players have completely realized that they are being used as highly expendable pawns in a war between billionaires and millionaires. And the absolute most infuriating, deeply toxic element of this entire civil war is the staggering, unapologetic arrogance of the union executives who are holding the season hostage. The rank-and-file players are terrified of losing everything, but the union leadership is operating with a horrifying level of casual indifference. Look directly at the behavior and the public posture of Brianna Stewart, the vice president of the Players Union. Brianna Stewart is arguably the greatest player in the world. She is a multimillionaire, but far more importantly, she is the literal co-founder of Unrivaled, the brand new, highly lucrative 3-on-3 winter basketball league. This is the single most egregious, completely disqualifying conflict of interest in the history of modern sports labor negotiations. The vice president of the WNBA Players Association actually owns a competing, alternative basketball league that operates entirely outside of the WNBA ecosystem. Listen to the absolutely chilling, detached arrogance of Brianna Stewart when she is asked about the terrifying March 10th deadline that is currently giving the rank-and-file players panic attacks.
Be done by the proposed deadline. This is what she was quoted as saying. "I don't know," Stewart told Fox Digital after a long, thoughtful pause. "I don't know if a deal gets done by March 10th. Part of me wants to say yes, but part of me is like, negotiations have been really slow going back and forth. There needs to be some serious movement within the next week." Literally,
"I don't know if a deal gets done by March 10th. Negotiations have been really slow." Let the sheer, sickening reality of that long, thoughtful pause echo in your mind. Brianna Stewart can afford to casually shrug her shoulders and say she does not know if the season will happen, because Brianna Stewart is completely financially insulated from the consequences. If the WNBA owners cancel the 2026 season, Brianna Stewart will not miss a single meal. She will simply pivot her focus to her own unrivaled league, collect her massive corporate endorsement checks, and continue to live in absolute luxury. She is perfectly willing to play a dangerous, high-stakes game of financial chicken with the billionaire owners because she is playing with the house's money. But the Lexi Browns of the league do not have an unrivaled league to fall back on. They do not have Nike signature shoes. If the season is canceled, their entire livelihood is instantly eradicated. The working-class players are watching their own vice president casually dismiss the March 10th deadline, knowing full well that her stubborn refusal to compromise is directly threatening their ability to survive. The union leadership is demanding that the middle-class players sacrifice their careers on the altar of a completely delusional, mathematically impossible revenue-sharing demand. And this brings us to the absolute core of the financial dispute that is actively destroying the league. The sports media refuses to accurately explain the complex, heavily guarded corporate accounting that defines this negotiation. The media simply reports that the players want 26% and the owners are refusing, but the true war is over the legal definition of the revenue itself. The union executives, completely blinded by greed, are aggressively demanding 26% of top-line gross revenue. Listen to the unvarnished, brutal mathematical explanation of exactly what the union is demanding versus what the WNBA owners are fiercely protecting under the concept of shared basketball income.
Being negotiated. The PA is asking for gross, and the league, the WNBA, is asking to deal in an SBI, which is shared basketball income, where you negotiate how much money goes into that pot, and that's shared to the players.
The players are asking for gross revenue. The WNBA is demanding to deal in shared basketball income. This is the ultimate, impenetrable brick wall where the union's leverage completely shatters into dust. Gross revenue is every single dollar that enters the entire corporate ecosystem before a single bill is paid. It is the television money, the ticket sales, the merchandise, and the sponsorships. They are mathematically guaranteeing that they will absorb hundreds of millions of dollars in personal, catastrophic financial losses over the lifetime of the agreement. They would be forced to pay the players out of their own pockets before they even pay for the arena leases, the massive new charter flight expenses, and the front office salaries. The owners are demanding a shared basketball income model, perfectly mirroring the highly successful structure of the National Basketball Association. In this model, the two sides negotiate exactly which revenue streams are included in the pot, and the owners are legally allowed to deduct critical operating expenses before the money is distributed to the workforce. It ensures that the league actually remains solvent. The WNBA owners are absolutely never, under any circumstances on planet Earth, going to sign a legally binding contract that surrenders 26% of top-line gross revenue. They would literally rather lock the arena doors, dissolve the franchises, and walk away from the sport entirely than sign a corporate suicide pact. The tragic, deeply poetic irony of this entire catastrophic standoff is the specific financial engine that the veteran leadership is attempting to hijack. The WNBPA Executive Committee, led by players who spent the entire previous season physically targeting Caitlin Clark, complaining about her media coverage, and openly bashing her dedicated fan base, is now aggressively trying to extract a supermax payday based exclusively on the economic miracle that she single-handedly created. The veterans called the Caitlin Clark fans toxic, racist, and completely unwanted in their ecosystem. Yet, when the television networks handed the league a $2.2 billion check specifically because of those exact same fans, the veteran players suddenly sprinted to the front of the line, demanding 26% of the cash. They despise the attention Caitlin Clark receives, but they are absolutely addicted to the massive, unprecedented economy she generated. They want to be paid like global superstars in an economy built entirely by a 22-year-old point guard. The working-class players, the Lexi Browns of the world, have finally realized the absolute hypocrisy and the fatal danger of this strategy. They are officially jumping off the sinking ship. The agents have taken over the boardroom. The locker rooms are in open revolt against Brianna Stewart and Nneka Ogwumike, and the billionaire owners are simply sitting back with their arms crossed, waiting for the union to completely self-destruct before the March 10th deadline. What is your completely unvarnished, highly analytical take on this massive internal civil war? Do you believe Brianna Stewart's role as the co-founder of Unrivaled is a massive conflict of interest that should disqualify her from negotiating the WNBA collective bargaining agreement? Do you agree with Lexi Brown and the working-class players who are ready to accept the owner's current offer to guarantee their salaries and free housing? And more importantly, do you believe the veteran players are complete hypocrites for demanding 26% of the gross revenue generated specifically by the Caitlin Clark fans they spent the entire year actively attacking? Drop your completely unfiltered, brutal analysis in the comments section below. If you want the uncompromising truth about the real business, the real strategy, and the real cutthroat corporate politics of professional sports, hit that subscribe button, brutally smash the like button, and turn on the bell notification so you never miss a deep dive. We do not do mainstream media fluff on this channel. We expose the leverage, we follow the internal union mutinies, and we reveal the terrifying corporate mathematics behind the press conferences. I will see you all in the next breakdown.